Deadlock's lead developer Yoshi said today on the Deadlock official Discord that the patch will be coming in a few days. I want to talk about what to expect in the patch, what has already been teased, and even some leaks that have come across the pipeline. Hey everyone, this is Connor here at Dead Unlocked, and as you can see in the Hideout, the holiday decor has gone. We have some new teasers hidden around the Hideout. We had a patch today, we had some confirmation from Yoshi, leaks, a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. There's a lot to cover here, but let's start with what we actually know from Yoshi, so things that he's communicated officially. So two things in the official Deadlock Discord server were kind of updated today. Number one, Yoshi said the update is looking like it's a few days or so away at the moment. That's not a statement that really requires much analyzing. It's probably coming in the next few days, as he's saying. I would think the latest that could possibly be stretched to would be next Monday, so expect the patch, I would think, by the end of the week or early next week. Not any clarification whether this is going to be a split patch or anything like we covered prior, so all we can really know from that is to expect something in the next few days. The second thing we get from Yoshi is actually just a response to a question. Yoshi, will there be hero voting again in the official Discord? Yoshi says, yeah, but rather than us picking a hero to start, we want all heroes to be voted on this time around. So it looks like this is basically going to mimic how heroes were released last time. This is even kind of further backed up by some things we're going to talk about here in a second. But I think, last time, if I remember correctly, Mina was released initially and then heroes were voted on after that. I think Yoshi's just clarifying here that there won't be an initial hero release. There will be kind of a blank slate voting from the beginning. He didn't say specifically how many heroes to expect, but the idea obviously is that there are going to be multiple heroes deployed in this one if there's going to be voting, obviously. So is that 4? Is it 6? Is it 8? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see on this one. Now, while we may not know which heroes are coming exactly, we do have some fun little teasers in the Hideout, and it's cool. A lot of these are actually things that are based on heroes that we have covered. So there's 4 images that I've seen kind of circulating around socials, and these seem to be the 4 kind of leading things that people have found in the Hideout that they believe to be teasers. One of them we have on screen already, and that's this glowing eyes on the picture above the fireplace that has been there for a while. It also looks like there's a throw pillow that looks like it's going to be Rem's pillow, so we get our first look at maybe a Rem asset in the game, which is super, super cool. There's also a staff hidden around, and then another new picture in the Hideout. All of these look to be indicators of new heroes. Which ones exactly? That's up for debate, I guess. But the pillow definitely for Rem. I'd be curious to hear what you all think the other ones are. Actually, it's not exactly clear to me. I haven't dug into it a ton. I wanted to make sure I got this out quickly. So let me know what you think the teasers are for, and if there's any others that I missed and didn't show on screen here. And with these new hero teasers, obviously comes the end of the Christmas challenge. We can finally all begin to heal our MMRs. No more ornament games. And we get the Hideout, like I said, back to its normal state and with these teasers. But we also get a really exciting new patch. I'll throw that on screen. This is actually what I thought was going to be kind of what happened, when we talked about the patches being split potentially or releasing in 2 patches or something. Something like this is actually what I thought would be part of that, so a balanced type of patch and then a larger, more substantial content patch. I think it's actually potential that we get this in multiple different iterations as the update goes along, like we get a hero release, maybe something about Street Brawl down the line. Still though, I'll put this on screen. This one's a smaller patch, definitely. This actually is when they release a small patch. Usually it's huge. This one actually is. We get some changes to respawn timers. The way the urn works is slightly changed. It's a little bit easier to dislodge the urn from enemy players. I think a lot of this is trying to make the urn a little bit more dynamic of an objective, and then the respawn timers are just trying to get players back into the game a little bit quicker, especially at those late portions in the game. So, and then kinetic dash was nerfed as well. Saw that one. Ammo count reduced from +8 to +6, but otherwise you can take a look at those. Cool to be getting a balance update though, along with some of these other official changes, and this really does kind of tee us up for a really, really substantial next update. Like Yoshi said, probably coming towards the end of the week. But before we close out, we do have some leaks to cover, some things that have come across social media today, and so let's take a look at those. For our first leak, we've got a new image of Rem and Graves, definitely HD 4K resolution for sure. We see the borrowed decree ability that we've talked about with Graves before. I don't know if this one is actually going to be, I don't know how old this image is. This is a very kind of classic caveat here. Take this with a grain of salt. This could easily just be work in progress. And from what I've heard, a lot of changes have been happening on the test server, so it's very hard to glean how much this is finalized. But we get to see some ability icons for Rem. We get to see a little bit of Rem's art. It looks like it's kind of difficult to see exactly what's going on there, but you see kind of the backside of Rem with his tail sticking out, holding his little, his little candle. So adorable looking. And then with Graves, a hero that I know I'm going to play a ton. I love summoner heroes. You see the borrowed decree ability. I can't make out any of that text really. Except for like maybe the words create a gravestone, like at a target, something like that is in there. And then you see some ability icons as well. But yeah, so we get to see these. The second thing we see is an image of Celeste. So I've seen that this is an older image. I think one thing I've heard is that the color palette for this hero has changed. I think I covered that in a previous video. They were going away from maybe the bright pastel pinks. But it is wild to kind of see this hero in game. This is the most complete image we've seen of this hero so far. So definitely really fascinating to finally see Celeste in Deadlock. And with this image of Celeste, like I was saying, that this is likely heavily work in progress. I mean, all the images at the bottom, all the icons being cats and like a flexing fist as the 4 is pretty evidence this is just a very much work in progress thing. And like I even mentions here, this is an early version, so this is probably something where the color palette no longer reflects this. But our last image, also, look at this adorable throw pillow of Rim. I just want to make sure I showed it. He's going to be so cute. So stoked for that little guy. Last thing is a new UI that is probably going to be deployed. We had to think UI changes were coming. We've seen a lot of them leaked, but this one, I hesitated to really talk about it very much because it's very grainy, very difficult to make out. But this looks like it'd be something where if you're hovering over a player's portrait, it's a little bit more informational of a drop down than what it is now, maybe a little bit easier to glean that information. So this is similar to a mod that has been used competitively for a while. So. And I wanted to close out the video in this little nook of the hideout, as it looks like there's some fewer boxes as there maybe used to be here in this space. Maybe that means that something new is coming in this area. Maybe this means it's just kind of a representation that there's more things coming to Deadlock. Boxes have been unpacked. People are moving into the hideout. Who knows? Maybe the amount of boxes left are the amount of new heroes that we should expect before release. I don't know. It's fun to speculate what is coming in these patches. I genuinely am so excited to see when this one comes out, whether it's Thursday, Friday, Monday, whenever it may be. We'll absolutely be covering it here at Dead Unlocked. But as always, thank you all so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think about the balance patch, the update, everything else in between, the leaks, this room. Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And as always, like I said, from our house to yours, we'll see you all next time here at Dead Unlocked.